Okay, looks like we're live. Great. So this week, if you saw my Twitter at all, I've been trying to add support for glass and leaves, but this is pretty difficult because the whole ray tracer is built on the assumption that everything you're trying to deal with and do like intersection checks with, it's all optimized for dealing with these cubes because most of the game is made out of cubes. So that's why right now I don't have entities or anything else like that. Even water, just because water in the regular game has some sort of like, it's not just a simple cube, it's got all these different orientations and it doesn't fill out the whole block. That's one of the reasons that I don't have water right now. I did for a little bit, but I had to take it out because I'm trying to add a good system for dealing with all sorts of non-voxelized blocks. So the simplest ones are things that are, pure cubes, but just have holes punched through them. So that's leaves and glass for now. And so this week, what's up? Yeah. This week I got that working and I got it lit. So this is lit exactly the same as everything else. Whereas before, when I was posting pictures on Twitter, I think 2 weeks ago, I had it. You could see through blocks, but it wouldn't light them correctly. My day is good, Phoenix. How is yours? Oh, and since last stream, I also figured out how to reduce the delay for the stream. It's you literally click one button. So now the delay is down to, I timed it, and it's about 7 seconds. So I can actually interact with chat a little bit this time. So yeah. Let's see. So yeah, the big trouble is just that now that I have basic intersection and lighting for cutout. They're called cutout voxels because it's just a pure cube, but then it has like holes punched through it. Thanks, Phoenix. So let's see. And then it can even support really large, complicated structures like this. And if we set this to leaves too, let's see what that looks like. So you can see through deep into the leaves. And it's all lit correctly, although it's pretty slow. So if I set that back to glass. This is scary. Which part is scary? Is it the music or is it just the stuff that I'm looking at, these weird structures and all the noise? I don't have a good plan to tackle the noise yet. I'll probably end up going the way of Sonic Ether, where I have some sort of complicated filtering and sample, like low resolution sampling. But I'm just hoping that when I start investigating that, I'll do a better job than he did, because just because his solution is pretty blurry, and I feel like it doesn't. Obviously it doesn't accumulate to the nice physical looking image. When will this be uploaded to the public? That's a great question, actually. So right now I am writing an obfuscator, which will allow me to send it around to people without worrying about them stealing the few ideas, like unique ideas that I had that I really want to keep to myself for a while. Eventually, I'll release the whole source code to the in public, so that everyone can see what some of the unique optimizations that I had. That's the end game. But for now, I'm gonna sell it on Patreon for a while. Not sell it. Selling it is not really, it'll be a Patreon situation. But so I'm writing an obfuscator right now. And then the goal is to send it to a few people on Discord, the administrators on my Discord fan club, and then just get some responses from them, and then hopefully, I don't know what the timeline is for putting it on Patreon. I would like to say like 3 weeks, but you know, I don't know how things are gonna go. Things, you know. You have any idea how you would solve the noise problem? So back to that. Yeah, as I said, I'm just gonna. I mean, I'll look into it. I'll look at what other people have done, and hopefully, I'll have some sort of unique, fresh idea to at least solve it better than everyone else. That's usually what happens when I get deep into a problem, is I find a better solution than the one that's currently out there. Yeah. So the problem with this, the solution right now for these cutout blocks is the lighting is all good. The code is okay. It's not huge. I can clean it up a little bit more. But the big problem is, let's just look at the FPS right now. Well, let me turn it off and we'll look at the FPS and then switch. Okay, so here it is with no voxel or no cutout support. You can see the leaves they're just pure cubes, and the same thing with the glass too. So I'll just get in a position here. And we are getting 80 FPS in this situation. Let's turn the cutout support back on. What did I do? Shit. There we go. And now we're getting 60, 65, 66. So that's at least a 10 to 12% performance loss, which, that might not seem terrible, but because this is just one of many effects that I still haven't added yet. And so that's like actually a really huge performance hit in terms of just supporting like a pretty limited range of blocks. Let me go into another world. So basically that performance hit is not acceptable. I need to figure out some way to improve that. Let's see. So here we have a lot of leaves. This is another difficult situation. Let me see. And it'll get down to the point, if I set it, I don't know, I've got 3 rays right now. But it'll get down to the point where like I'm dipping below, I'm down to 39 FPS. Whereas if usually it was staying above 60 in almost every situation. Yeah, here I'm sitting at about 53 or 60. So this is actually a really huge performance hit. And it gets worse depending on how many cutout or special blocks you have around you. And the performance hit is not just because of the additional computation that needs to be done. A lot of it is because of this like branching structure of handling these blocks. Because basically on your GPU, you've got a bunch of pixels that are near each other have to be running the same code. And so when you have pixels that need to run code to like intersect with one of these things, and then the pixel next to that, like if we're looking here, if we're looking at this angle, okay, we've got pixels that are actually hitting this block that need to do intersection checks, and then pixels very nearby that are missing the block and need to just march out into the sky. And so the way it is right now, both of the pixels have to do both of the sets of jobs, and they have to wait for each one to finish. Let me get a visualization of something. Let's see. If I go here, just take our case. Wrap this in a derivative and divide it by like 10. Would you be able to stream your current GPU usage? That's a good idea. I'll set that up in a second. Let me see. Oh shit. So this is basically a visualization where the brighter a pixel is, so the brighter an area is, the more performance it's wasting. This is non-essential performance. This is, if we could figure out a better way to do this, to run this algorithm, it wouldn't need to waste the work that it's doing for these pixels. And you can see that because we have ambient light, it happens fucking everywhere. The scene is like a clusterfuck of just tons of branching and wasted computation. So I'm hoping that I will come up with a way to get around this, but as of yet, I've been thinking about it for a couple days and I haven't really had any insights. Let me get a little GPU usage display. Not sure how to fit these two together. There we go. So GPU usage is high, basically. I know some people who were doing performance testing by actually limiting their FPS and then just looking at GPU usage, but I still do it by just limiting the scene and then seeing how high you can get your max FPS to go. So some ideas to reduce this thing called branching. I had one which is basically, let's see. It's getting laggy here. Oh shit. Stream died for a second. Are we back? Is there a way to think of a bypass to reduce the total number of calculations, like an additional filter to stop GPU from calculating too accurately on every pixel? Yeah, filtering usually does two things. So it reduces the amount of visible noise, and so hopefully we'd be able to get the visible noise below while you're still moving around and you don't have that many samples. We want to get the visible noise below the level where you can like see it and be irritated by it. And at the same time, it also estimates how noisy an area is. And so if an area is really not very noisy, then you could probably dynamically scale the amount of samples that you're doing. Is this stream fucking dead again? Okay. Okay, we're good. Yeah, so the problem with scaling the amount of samples that you're doing is the same thing as if adjacent like pixels that are near each other have a different are supposed to be doing a different number of samples, then you're going to get a lot of branching and decoherence. And that's then basically the pixel that says, you know, I only need to do one sample. This is a really easy area. Then it has a guy next to it that says, I need a lot of samples. This is a really hard area. Well, then this guy's just going to have to do all the same work. So you're not going to get any benefit. And it might even make it worse because it has to start thinking about whether it should make that decision. The compression is suffering when there's a lot of noise. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's see. So that was a visualization for the basically performance loss, performance waste. A way to overcome that to some extent that I found was we can correlate the samples so that every single pixel doesn't shoot off in a different direction. They'll shoot off in the same direction. And so generally they'll tend to hit the same stuff more often. So if I do that right now, here they're totally correlated. So every frame, it's only shooting pixels in one direction. So you can see it's like the direction changes every frame, so it gets all random. I don't know how this is showing up in the stream. Let me check. And then if I stand still, it'll average out. And you'll end up getting, after a really large number of samples, you'll end up getting the same image as if you were doing the other way. But this runs a lot faster. This can be like twice as fast in some situations. Like if I come over here and I just turn this down, turn my frame rate, I don't know, unlimited, it's gonna fuck shit up. Let me actually, I'll leave it at 30 and then just look at my GPU usage. We're at 51%. And so if I turn this off, we are up to 59%. So I was actually getting twice the FPS when I was doing this before. I think the GPU usage tells a little bit of a different story, but let's see. So obviously this is a really big, like you wouldn't want to use this in motion. This would never work. One idea I had was maybe if you've been standing still for a long time, it'll start doing this instead. But I think it takes so many more samples to converge to an okay image, it probably isn't worth it. And another thing that we can do is instead of having the whole screen be correlated, we can just correlate groups of pixels. So let's see. Set this to like 6 so that the stream can actually see. So now, oh shit. This one. This one. No, not that. Forgot how I did this yesterday. Yeah, so now pixels are correlated with each other. And it's still pretty large, or pretty small, the radius. Where's this coming from? Oh. There we go. So now we've got tiles that are all going in the same direction too. And so I thought maybe if we can get these tiles small enough, then it would be just as good as like normal rendering. But I found that even when you make the tiles like an 8x8, it still looks like shit. And it looks like shit in like it's so much worse that even if you were doubling your FPS, the thing is like if you can double your FPS, you get twice as many samples, you get half as much noise, it'll make it look twice as good. But it looks like this makes it 8 times worse. So on the net, you render twice as fast, you get twice as many samples, but then it looks like shit. It looks about 8 times as bad, and so overall, it's about a quarter of the quality that you had in the first place. So this ended up being an idea that was not really worth pursuing any farther. At least I don't think so. Need to remind you that this stream will take around 10 to 15% of my GPU. That's correct. But it looks like I have some to spare. Should be okay. And I think it's even encoding on my my integrated GPU. Every pixel is a single GPU core, right? When the core is done processing a pixel, does it start processing another one? Yeah. So you have every pixel is processed by its own GPU core. There are about 2,000, I think about 2,000 GPU cores in a regular GPU. And so there's probably 1 million pixels on my screen right now. And then when each one finishes, they'll go to they'll move on to doing a new pixel. But the cores are grouped together. And so even though you have 2,000 cores, I don't know how many distinct groups you have. You probably have, I don't know, let's see. Let's get my calculator out. We've got people speaking Spanish in the chat again. Nice. Hola, ¿cómo están? Tranquilas. Tu requestas y me voy de vacaciones en mi vida. Te quiero decir es mi nombres que te... I don't know how to pronounce any of that. But something about vaccinations. So if we've got 2,000 cores, divide that by... Oh, shit. I think we'll probably have about... on the other order of 128 to 256 different work groups. I don't know if... Yeah, that should be about it. Because pixels are grouped together in like some sort of rectangular pattern. Stream is dead. Fuck. Excellent connection. Okay, so maybe just the video is dying for some reason. It's interesting, a graphics programming stream, and we can barely... using so much of my GPU that it's fucking killing the stream. Oh, YouTube might have a server problem? Okay. What is going on with my task manager? CPU is really high. What's using all my CPU? What the fuck? Oh, it looked like I had a shadow Minecraft. Oh no, the Minecraft that was launching was using 100% of my CPU while it's launching. What the fuck? Oh my god. Damn, this game's a piece of shit. I don't even know if I'm still streaming. Shit. I guess this is what I get for using a laptop. Switching to a laptop full time instead of using my GPU or my my big rig. So the wasted performance comes from a single core in a branching while the others are done before that, I guess. Okay, so it's not just that the others are done. It's that, let's say, the dude on the left has to do his own work, and the dude on the right has to do his own work. So they both have. It's not just that one of them doesn't have to do work, but like they both need to do two different things that are fairly computationally expensive. Unless we can basically find an isomorphism or make those two different sets of jobs the same thing and do it with the same code. Unless we can do that, then they'll just have to both, like, they'll do the first guy's job and then they'll do the second guy's job, and they both have to wait for the other one to finish. So yeah, it's fine in the case where you're skipping work. That usually leads to a speed up that just isn't active all the time, because sometimes, you know, a core gets caught up in some work that someone else was doing. But let's see, chop this down. Yeah, but that's how it works. Okay, we're finally down on the CPU. I'm going to set this back to whatever it was doing before. And so that's really interesting, pentocoron, because a lot of the, like, my favorite things in graphics are when you have a branching situation like that, but you don't have to. So if you can find a way to conjoin two different pieces of code, like if you can combine it into one single, like, set of instructions or algorithm that just does either thing based on the inputs, then you can eliminate that branching. I know that it's not possible to do that completely in this case, because in order to check do an intersection test for this block, you need to do texture lookups for this, like the texture on here, whereas to march through space, you need to do texture lookups for a separate, completely separate group of data. And so unless they were both in the same, oh fuck, that's a great idea. If they were in the same texture, that might make things fast. Oh shit. Huh. No, but I don't think we could put them in the same texture. Probably not. And even if we did, then every single texture lookup would have to would be slowed down because it was looking up from a larger piece of memory. Hello from not forward, no, forward, not left, not right. Hi. Is there any pre-calculation on the CPU first? Would it make the speed of filter much faster? There are things that we can pre-calculate on the GPU, but because so all of the Java Edition shader developers work, we don't do any OpenGL stuff, and so we don't have access to anything the CPU does. We can't set up new routines. That's just up to Optifine to do stuff like that for us. And so in our case, just because we don't have access to the API, no, we can't do that. I mean, I think in almost any AAA title, they'll do a bunch of that, but unfortunately, we can't. I had an idea for something I wanted to do. Oh yeah, I wanted to try to install the replay mod. So I was thinking, because we have so much noise, it's difficult to record a video of like us walking around, because every time you move, you know, the noise comes back. It has to start over with the ray march. But if we just accumulated frames, even when we were moving, and we were moving at small enough increments, then I think it would average out to like a really nice video with just some motion blur. And so I was going to see if we could use the replay mod to do that. But I do remember the replay mod being kind of a piece of crap before. So let me see. Point 12.2. Oops. Sure, I'll move this over here just so I don't show anything I don't want to by accident. How about trying to pre-catch the texture in the first place? I've been playing BOTW on CEMU emulator. I don't know what any of that is. The first time it runs, it is very slow due to creating the texture cache. I don't know if this works on Java. So whatever it's doing, the whole texture is already in GPU memory, and it's already in some sort of GPU cache hierarchy. I don't think there's anything that we could do to make it faster besides just making the texture smaller. What is the other texture that you have to check? The depth buffer? That's a fucking really great question. Yes, it is the depth buffer, but not exactly. It's the depth buffer of a shadow map, and it's not actually arranged to do any sort of like perspective depth. It's total garbage. I mean, that's what it looks like. What it actually is we take every voxelized position and we convert it to a pixel in the shadow map. I actually wrote about, that's the only blog post that I've written is about that. Let me see if I can find. No, not this. So the texture that we look up to do intersection checks for just the regular voxels is the shadow map, and it is the 3D space around you laid out in 2D using this sort of pattern. Here, I'll link that. Do I want to install spyware? I'm good. Okay. There we go. And I gotta change the size of this again. There we go. when the replay mod first came out, it had like tons of bugs. It's the greatest idea for a mod ever, but it was so buggy it like sucked. But the guy who made it, I remember going to Minecon, and I think he was there too. But he was like a 16-year-old kid, and he had made this whole mod, which was really cool because this mod is like the most complicated thing I can imagine a mod doing. It's not just like adding some blocks to the game or something. It's like totally writing a recorder for the game engine and then an emulator. I'm using a 3D space filling curve to build the texture of voxels, I guess. Yes, so we have a 3D space filling curve that basically converts 3 dimensions down to 1 dimension, and then we just map that 1 dimension to our 2-dimensional shadow map. But you can think of basically we use the shadow map like a regular 1-dimensional array. And then we have a scheme to just convert 3D, like a 3D coordinate into a 1-dimensional coordinate in that array. We have Mr. Ballslapper 2000, who sent a very kind compliment. These streams are very relaxing. Lol. Thanks. How the fuck do we use this mod? Okay, let's try it out. Oh, is it already recording? Okay. Let me stop. Then we'll just do a new one of me like walking off of a cliff. How about, no, I'll do it during the day for now. How do I actually get to these replays? Replay viewer. Oh, my dude is not going to show up. So how do we get from the player's perspective? Forget how to do that. The replay mod should be revolutionary. Like, it should have... I don't know. Oh, shit. I forgot to set my Windows thing back to... There we go. We got our GPU usage back. Replay mod should have been... I mean, it should have made, like, a demos... Or, like, you know, like a frag video. There should have been, like, Minecraft PvP... like communities who would use the replay mod to like show off and stuff, because there's some like for TF2 I remember there was like a very vibrant community of people who would just make videos of them like in what is it, killing people, like in professional games, like getting, I don't know, the best, it's called frag videos, I think, because when you kill someone, you make them go into turn into fragments or something. But when the replay mod came out, I was hoping that it would end up like that, but it's kind of stayed a little bit obscure, I think, which is unfortunate. How do I... Let's see. Is this... Can I easily scene transition? Okay, so that's how people stream, I guess, is they have different scenes, and you can switch between them really easily. Okay. I can mess around with it, too. That's cute. Path preview feature. Shortcut key H. never touched the replay mod in 1.14 because the GUI isn't working properly. Yeah. I guess it's still kind of buggy like it was before. How do we... Is my dude in here? I'm hoping that this can be, like, I can use this to film pretty good. I mean, I don't know if I would, I don't think I would end up using the replay mod for Acid Interstate because I could still use Camera Studio. That's the other idea for Acid Interstate, I think I mentioned last week, is just record it at a really, really high FPS, and then hopefully the samples will average into a nice, like, not just coherent image, but it'll have motion blur too, which will be nice. Okay, here. How do I start over? It says if I click this area that it should move us there, but it doesn't seem to. That one is for keyframe editing. Do you mean the top one or the bottom one? Probably. It looks like I would imagine the bottom one is for the keyframe editing, and then the top one is just for moving around. But I can't move around. I don't know if it's a bug or if I'm just a boomer. Yeah, bottom one is for keyframe editing. There is a replay timeline. By clicking somewhere on this timeline, you will travel in time towards that point. Let's pause it. Okay. Okay, so it looks like after it ends, it gets fucked up. Of course. Traveling backwards makes it reload the game. That makes sense. And if I press B, go over here, this is me, play it. What if I just want to render the whole thing from the perspective of this dude? Add spectator keyframe. Then we're gonna go forward what, like 8 seconds? And then also go forward about 8 seconds. Add spectator keyframe. Click on the dude to make a spectator keyframe. Let's try that. So if I move time forward here, visible. I'm not sure. What am I coding? Yeah, a Minecraft shader. You can click on the dude in game to make a spectator keyframe. Oh, fuck. That's cool. Do I have to right click or what exactly? I mean, it looks like you're right. I just don't know how. I'm trying to do it. Right click, shift click, right and shift click. It doesn't seem to be doing it, but it is highlighted so that you can do that kind of thing. Okay, that's cool. It should be when you right click. Yeah, I'm right clicking and it's not working. I would imagine it's just the replay mod being kind of glitchy because it was very, even back then, it had a lot of problems like this. Like something just wouldn't seem to work or it would crash all the time. So every pixel in your voxel texture is an 8-bit integer which contains the state/type of that voxel. No. So in this shadow map, there are multiple channels. So multiple 8-bit. Basically, the amount of data that it stores at a pixel it changes depending on what I actually want to store for each voxel. But there is a spot for every single cube of 3D space. Sorry, one sec. As far as what is actually stored there, a ton of stuff. Information about the texture coordinate, as well as whether the texture is emissive, whether it is a hole punch type block. Later on, more information for let's see, more information regarding what type of special block it is. That'll be stored there. Let me look at the file actually. So we store the texture coordinate. We store how many pixels large is the block, and then we also store what color, the biome color for the block. So like if it's grass, we'll store sort of like a green color. Yeah. And we store some of that information in the depth map, which is a 32-bit. It's 32 bits of data. What they are is kind of ambiguous. They're a float, sort of. And then the other, we have a couple other channels of data. So we have a full RGBA texture, which is 4 separate 8-bit slots, totaling another 32 bits. And we have 2 of those. So in total, we have, 32 plus 32, 32 times 3, something like about 100 bits for each one of these spots. And if I can reduce the amount of information that I need to send through, like if we can cut out one of those channels, it gets a lot faster. So that's a big thing with shaders is, can you encode the information in a very small number of bits? Because if so, you can reduce the size of the memory, and then it gets like way faster. Especially like to look up, because the main driver of the shader is look up this texture, and do that like 500 times. And so if the texture is smaller, if we store less data, then it's faster to look it up because you can cache more of it too. And I mean, I don't know anything about caching. That's something that's handled entirely by the GPU. Let me try to play this path. At least 2 position keyframes and 2 time keyframes are required. Fuck. So, we want to go to the beginning and then set a time keyframe. And then go to the end and set a time key. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. What is this? This doesn't look right. Is it sort of... Oh, okay. Which cursor? This one. What do you do with non-voxel things like mobs and items? For now, we just ignore them and do our best to... I mean, they'll just be ignored in the lighting for now. So you won't see them in reflections. They won't cast shadows or anything like that. You'll still be able to see them because we use the game's rasterizer, but the lighting that they receive and transmit out into the world, that'll be very... we have a lot of problems figuring out how to do that. Later, I might be able to support entities, but because they move around and they're made out of a bunch, like even just a sheep has 4 legs, a body, and a head, that's 6 voxels that you need to store their position or figure out some sort of complicated encoding. And I don't know how to do that yet. So we'll see if I have any ideas, but I've been thinking about that for a long time already. Let's see. So let me try to play this with trace. Oh shit. Uh-oh. Did I do something in here? For whatever reason, it's not loading the textures correctly. But notice that the structure of the world is still there. So that means that it's only sort of broken. We're getting errors in the chat. Let me see if we have errors. I think if we reload, it'll be okay. Probably the replay mod isn't flushing the textures or something like that. We saved this replay? Okay. Okay, it's rendering. And where is it gonna put it? Oh shit. Okay, we've got about 1 frame of noise. This is to be expected. I didn't realize it, but the replay mod does. Even the spectator is like, it doesn't have view bobbing. It doesn't look like footage for some reason. But here's what I'm gonna do. Now I'm gonna set up the accumulator to just do a step instead. So it'll just start over every couple frames. So we'll get some motion blur like that. Let's see. If we just convert that into float, it'll be 0 most of the time. So every 8 frames, this should start over. There we go. What if we render 60 frames and start over? Okay. We got something. Let me see if I can get the textures to come back. Oh no, it was fine when we recorded it, so it doesn't matter. You can render at 120. How do we super sample the time dimension, the time domain? Oh, we can also super sample just regularly. And that'll improve the noise. Let's try it. Shit, this is gonna take a while. Let's see, can we cancel it and still get the rest of our video? Yes, I'm sure. Can I render the file? Okay, what if we... Can you set the shader to take more samples per pixel? Yes. So that'll do part of the work. The other problem... I got a super chat, thanks. Can't wait for the final product. Nice. I want to get it out there within a reasonable amount of time. So, like I said before, hopefully like a month, but you never know. Like 3 weeks to a month would be ideal. And that wouldn't even be the final product. That would just be a release to some people. No, the dream is if in a year, I would be happy if in a year I have a shader that looks, that you can actually play with, and it renders all of the different stuff correctly too. So, you know, sort of like Seuss, but better. So can we set the shader to take more samples per pixel? Yes. The problem with that is, what if I want to take so many too many samples? What if I want to take 1,000 samples per frame? How do we get that to work? Because at some point, if you make it use 1,000 pixels, it's going to take so long to render a single frame that Java will just notice that and say, oh, you must have fucked something up because it's taking too long. And so in order to continue increasing our sampling count far beyond the point where it would run in real time, like even 1 frame, I think 1 FPS, if you go below maybe 1 frame every 5 seconds, you're kind of fucked. It'll just close the game for you. So if I want to go, if I still need more samples, which we do in certain cases, if I set the shader to be night, if I have nighttime, you can see this is going to take forever to render an okay image. And so if we were recording a video, we would need every frame to accumulate a lot of samples, even more than I think you could do at 0.2 FPS. So to do that, I would have to super sample in, like just render the video at a higher frame rate, and then just blend it, like do some motion blur or something. And you can easily take frames and like average a couple frames to like cut your frame rate down. If you render a 480 FPS video, you can downsample that in the time domain to get a 60 FPS video. You can just do that with your encoder. So that's really easy to do. You don't need another, like, to save all those frames onto your hard disk. You can do it while it's recording and just getting streamed in. Let me go back to doing this thing one more time. I like this example because you can see what this thing actually does. You see, it's just like painting this image using a lot of samples. And usually these samples are decorrelated, so you can't tell what it's doing. But here it's like very obvious. Stop recording. So here you can see how big of a problem it is to have totally correlated samples, because just to get this like image of like a very sparse sampling to go away, like let's say the farther out you go, the more samples you need just to get it to stop looking like that. And I think it's gonna, because this is like surface area, let's say to go out twice as far and make it look sort of okay, you need 4 times as many samples. How does it burst out like that? So this is the rays, all of the rays in for a frame are going in the same direction, the ambient rays. So what's actually going on is the pixels right here are shooting off in every which different direction to try and find a light source. And if they hit one, like if this pixel here manages to march over to this this glowstone, then it will say, oh, I hit something that's emitting light. That light is gonna go into my brightness now. And that's happening in 3-dimensional space, not just on your screen. How does that not hurt your eyes? I've gotten used to that. I mean, this is not. I would never release this to someone. It's just for an experiment that I was doing. But I mean, I've gotten used to this kind of thing totally. Yeah, people are always posting epilepsy warnings on my videos. I appreciate it, I guess, but like I'm so used to just seeing like total nonsense noise. It's like it's normal to me now. This is actually more beautiful than the regular shader. Oh shit, I went into the nether. The nether actually converges very quickly, I'm surprised. It almost feels like that converges faster. Interesting. Oh, it's the overlay that's doing that. Yeah, the nether, I think because the lighting in the nether is more like spatially coherent in terms of like when you imagine a sphere around any point and you move along that sphere, the lighting is much more consistent as you move like slightly in any direction. What was I gonna do? Let's just try to render 1 second of video. Yeah, exactly. More direct access to light sources. Especially in sunlight, because you know exactly which direction to go to march in to find sunlight. But for different light sources are more noisy, and you don't know. You know, for the sky, because there's such a big this skylight can come from literally any direction, and so you have to spread your samples all over the place, and so you have, you know, there's a lot of noise and a very large area to integrate over. If I just set this to like 640 by 480, some frame rate, and then go back to shaders.properties, get my 60 FPS on. Okay. Light Vading says, hey Bruce. Hey Light Vading. I forget who you are, sorry. I get a lot of people messaging me on Discord, and so like, yeah. Okay, let's see. What does this look like? Did I forget to reload the shader? Autistic kid or something like that? I don't know. Do you have autism? What conversation did we have? If you tell me what we talked about, I'll remember exactly who you are. It was about the use of words. When did we have that conversation? I don't. Maybe it was right after I finished one of my other streams. That might have been. That was kind of an epiphany moment for me when I realized, like, just fucking stop worrying about assholes watching your stream and getting offended by what you say. Just basically, I just learned to be myself. How's the shader going? It's good. This week was pretty rough though because I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to add glass and other stuff like glass. So glass and leaves, and it's really difficult to get it to run well. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. So frame counter. Is it not updating frame counter? It didn't reset at all. Is it not updating the uniforms? I wonder. No, P-Trace doesn't have any reprojection yet, actually. It just has accumulation that turns off when you move around at all. So that's why it's so noisy. It's just there's no reprojection. There's no nothing like that yet. Hello. Let's see. Yeah, it cleans up pretty good but it only works when you stand still. And in the daylight, it cleans up very quickly because, you know, that's an easy situation. But if I go into a cave or something, it gets very noisy and it takes a long time to clean up. Okay, here we go. So now we just need to synchronize the restart with... Oh no, we don't have any downsampling yet. And let's see. Can we record at a really high frame rate with the replay mod? This is saved. So this is saved somewhere. I know that if I say cancel and then render again, it is still at 120. If I set it to 65, shit. What did I do? It stays at 65. So I need to figure out where this setting is in the game and see if I can just set it to like 400. If I restart Minecraft, let's see if it stays. Yeah, once again, there's no reprojection. It's just accumulation. Oh, if I was really lazy, I could just download other people's replays too. Hmm. Still at 65 here. Let's see if I go into another replay. Does it? So it's saved. The frame rate is saved offline somewhere. Oh, and it's shared for all replays. So it's like a setting. Oh, fuck. Let's see if I can replace this with \n. What do you mean you can't find? Let's see. Shit. Can't find any text. Frames per second. If we set this to 480, what's going to happen? Use Sublime Text? No. Costs money. I'm not gonna bother with pirating it. Atom seems just as good, if not better. I do the same thing, but instead of Sublime, I use Notepad++. I don't want to. I like Notepad++ enough. Notepad++ feels like a very raw editor. And when I'm just doing random stuff, I just want to know what the text file really is. I don't want any sort of fancy bullshit. Visual Studio Code is the best editor. Changed my mind. I haven't tried it yet. I'm not going to try to change your mind. You might be right. I've heard it's better than Atom. Atom is slow. Yeah, Visual Studio Code is the best editor for the fucking 2 people who use it, including you. We got 480 frames per second. This one should take a little bit longer. Three people. You found 3 people in the whole world who use VS Code. You, Joey, and Robobo. Robobo. How do you, I don't know how this. Fuck. Laughs in Python idle. Fuck Python idle. Why the fuck would anyone use Python idle? I just received this picture from Joey and it looks okay. Not bad. Okay, we've got 2 dots, so we've got about 2 artifacts in this whole image. This is looking pretty good. Let's see how our render turned out. What the fuck? Oh, this is at 480 FPS. So 480.01 frames per second. Let's get in After Effects and see what this looks like. You know what? I should just expand this to look like. There we go. Do we have distinct frames? 480 distinct frames. Let's see. This is how you do frame by frame analysis of a video, by the way. You have After Effects. Yep, it looks like every single frame is distinct. So we got 480 FPS output from After Effects. Or from the replay mod. Let's see. So after, if I have that output frame rate, then you know what? I don't even need to do this actually. I can have every frame be completely separate, and then just accumulate them in the render. Super sampling in the time domain. Why do we have such whacked out rendering settings? Why would I want to specify my bit rate? Default quality. Custom bit rate. High quality. Default quality. Man, fuck this. Custom bit rate. Set it to like 50. 100. No. We got 60 divided by 400. That's 8. So we want 100 times 8, 800 megabytes per second. Come down here. And how do we, where's my command to subsample time? It's a video filter. I think that should downsample the time. So we should get a 240 FPS video now. What's going on? I am just trying to get, I'm working on maybe recording a little video with the replay mod. And because I can record it offline, I can super sample it. See what frame rate this is. $240, okay. That doesn't look right. This is going to be 8 times downsampling. Okay, here we go. Holy fuck. Holy shit. It looks great. Let me get this open in AE. Yeah, I mean, it tracks everything. It tracks entities, it tracks block changes, it tracks your player walking around. You can replay your, like, what your player saw, everything. And it cuts out, when you're actually rendering it, it renders it not in real time. And so you can basically, instead of recording your screen, you can record a normal gameplay and then render something with like a different shader pack, all sorts of stuff. Okay, here we go. So this is 8 times super sampling in the time domain. And we've got some motion blur. So the motion blur comes out to be, what is it? A 360-degree shutter angle. So it is as if you had a video camera and you kept the shutter open. And I can, if we wanted to do like a different motion blur effect, if we wanted the motion blur to be smaller, we could do that as well. But this is pretty good. Is it running? Yeah, that's exactly the kind of thing that you could do. That would be kind of an interesting idea for a Let's Play, but rendered with the replay mod. Maybe I'll play, when I play on my 1.14 server, I'll try to do something like that. For the Discord server for my Discord. It's very noisy though. And this was already at 2 times SSAA. What? So for SSAA, does it actually output a larger file? Yeah, it does. Does the replay mod show the player GUI? Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think so. You might be able to get it to, but I don't think so normally. me just try to render a longer version of this now. And that's fine. I'll render a really small one then, so it goes faster. Okay. It's playing too fast for some reason. Let's see. 480 divided by 60 is 8 times. What? Let's see what my rendering settings are. Well, that's something I could tweak later, but yeah. This is good. This is the foundation for actually filming videos with this before I get filtering in. And even when I have filtering in, we can make really high quality cinematics now. Nice. Let's see. Alright, well I think that does it for the stream this week. Then let me navigate to the YouTube page and close it. But yeah, hopefully next week I will have hopefully next week I'll have a better better situation going on with the glass and leaves and branching overall. Yep. Can we get a Friday stream? Yeah, I think I'll do another stream this week. I'm not sure what day I'll do it on. Probably Friday or Saturday. Whatever day, I'll look at the analytics and just see what day I think most people will be on. But yeah, I think maybe I'll start doing them twice a week. Yeah. And I actually closed the YouTube page now, so I can't figure out how to end the stream. Like I can't navigate to the page where I can close the fucking page. Are there any like young people in the chat who know how to use YouTube who can help me? Here. How do I... Alt F4? Okay. Fucking calm down for a second. Okay. Don't call me a boomer. I'm 22. So, here's the situation. I need you guys to be like the genius bar for me. Okay? Jesus Christ, look at this guy's smile. Holy fuck. But, so I have the chat window here, but before I closed all my other Firefox windows because Firefox was using too much of my CPU. But now I don't know how to get back to the streaming page on YouTube so that I can close the stream. I don't know how to end the stream. Go to the stream page. What do you mean go to the stream page? Like where? Here? Or do I go to videos? And turn on, I know if I'm on the stream page, I know how to turn the stream off, okay? I'm not that idiotic. But what, do I click on it? This just, oh shit. I thought it was gonna bring me to the stream. It brought me to the editing page. Shit. Do you guys know how to reopen the stream page after you closed it? Okay, go live. Will it say that I'm already live? Okay, we're back. Okay, good. We're back. Thank you. I wouldn't have been able to do it without you. Cancel my electrical service. Oh, or I can go. That's it. So someone, let's see. If I just add this watch URL, that's going to bring me to the watch page for the stream. I think. Yeah. Wait, what did you do to this URL? Why won't it load? What the fuck did you do? It looks the same, but it's not. Oh, you took it off the view. You took the V out. Yeah. No, you have to be on the... Oh, shit. I wonder if... It's a good thing they cover up the fucking... the stream key, because I'm going to broadcast this page. Yeah, no, even if I get on the view page, this is just for me to watch it. But if I want to close it, I need to be on this page, and it's not obvious how to get back here after you close it. But I guess it's... I wonder if you could do multiple live streams at once then from the same account. That would be kind of weird. Yeah. But anyway, I'll see you guys on Friday. Thank you all for coming out. Lots of love.